It was another average day in the galaxy's most prestigious interspecies school, the Xional Academy, where students from every corner of the universe gathered to study the latest advancements in science, philosophy, and combat. The school was built on the floating asteroid, Zalva, in the center of the Andromeda Galaxy, a place where beings of all shapes, sizes, and intellects coexisted. Some were massive creatures with tentacles, others were humanoid, while a few were sentient gas clouds. But there was one student who stood out from the rest, a human named Ethan. Ethan had only arrived at Xional Academy a few weeks ago. He was unlike anyone the other students had ever seen. His body was small compared to many of the species in the academy, and his skin was a pale shade of brown. His hair, a messy dark brown, stuck out in all directions, unlike the sleek tentacles or flowing locks of other students. But the real reason Ethan stood out was because he was human, a species from a planet called Earth, a planet the others knew very little about. They had heard of it, but to them, Earth was nothing but a primitive backwater planet filled with weak, insignificant life forms. And so, Ethan quickly became the target of ridicule. It wasn't long before a group of students began to bully him. There was Zog, a towering creature with 3 eyes and 6 arms, who found Ethan's size amusing. There was Tira, a snobbish, slender being from the planet Vaxar, who mocked Ethan's fashion choices. His plain clothes were nothing compared to the flowing garments of her people. Finally, there was Rel, an energetic, hyper-intelligent alien from the planet Cerbri, who found Ethan's lack of advanced knowledge laughable. To the group, Ethan was a joke. "What's Earth like, little human?" Zog would ask with a mocking grin, towering over Ethan, casting a long shadow with his massive frame. "Is it true you still use primitive tools? I bet you still write with pens and paper." Tira would sneer. Ethan would take the insults quietly, his head down, trying to ignore them. He had never been good at making friends, and he certainly wasn't prepared for the cruelty of the galaxy's more advanced species. It was hard enough adjusting to the strange, new world of the Academy. The strange customs, the new languages, the advanced technology. It was all overwhelming. The hardest part was knowing that no one took him seriously. They all assumed that just because he was from Earth, he was weak. Every day was the same. He would walk through the halls, feeling the stares and hearing the whispers. And though it stung, he kept his head down and tried to focus on his studies. But one fateful day, everything changed. It was during an advanced combat training session, a class that was mandatory for all students at the academy. The instructor, a stern and battle-hardened soldier from the planet Korath, was teaching students how to use energy blades, an advanced weapon technology used across the galaxy. The room was filled with students, all eager to prove their skills, except for Ethan. He had never used an energy blade before and was nervous about being judged. Today, the instructor announced, "You will face off against each other in a combat simulation. You will spar. And I expect all of you to demonstrate your ability to wield these weapons." Ethan was paired with Zog, the bully. The towering alien chuckled when he saw who his opponent was. "Are you sure about this, little human?" Zog said, stepping forward, his 3 eyes glinting. "I wouldn't want to break you in half." The other students watched, eager to see the inevitable defeat of the weak human. Ethan gripped his energy blade tightly, doing his best to focus. His heart was racing, but he knew he had to try. The combat began, and Zog immediately charged at Ethan, swinging his energy blade in wide, powerful arcs. Ethan stumbled back, struggling to keep his balance. He wasn't used to combat like this, and the alien's size and strength overwhelmed him. But as Zog swung at him again, something clicked. Ethan ducked under Zog's strike, narrowly avoiding the blade. Then, using the momentum from Zog's attack, he twisted his body, sliding behind the larger alien and delivering a quick strike to Zog's back. The energy blade made contact, leaving a bright, glowing mark. Zog staggered forward, surprised. The room went silent. The other students couldn't believe what they were seeing. Zog quickly recovered and turned to face Ethan, anger in his eyes. He charged again, this time with even more force. But Ethan was ready. He anticipated Zog's next move, ducking and weaving with precision. The small human moved faster than anyone expected, and with a quick flick of his wrist, he disarmed Zog, sending the energy blade flying across the room. Zog stood frozen for a moment, his three eyes wide in shock. Ethan stood tall, his energy blade raised, ready for the next strike. There was a quiet tension in the air. Finally, the instructor spoke, his voice cutting through the silence. Enough. The class erupted into murmurs of disbelief. Zog stood, panting, looking more confused than defeated. Ethan lowered his weapon, his heart still racing, but his eyes shining with determination. Zog was forced to admit defeat, but his pride was shattered. You're not just some weak human, he muttered, glaring at Ethan. The other students had their jaws dropped. Tira, Rel, and the rest of the group looked at Ethan in stunned silence. They had underestimated him. They had assumed that because he was from Earth, he was nothing special, but now they realized how wrong they were. Word of Ethan's victory spread like wildfire throughout the academy. It wasn't long before the whispers changed. Now, instead of mocking him, students were asking him questions. They wanted to know how he managed to defeat Zog. They were amazed by his skills, his quick thinking, and his ability to adapt. And slowly, Ethan began to find his place. He wasn't the weak, fragile human they had thought him to be. He was from Earth, a planet with a history of resilience, ingenuity, and survival. The very traits that had allowed humanity to rise above countless challenges. By the end of the semester, Ethan wasn't just accepted at the academy, he was respected. His peers no longer saw him as a joke. They saw him as a fellow student, someone worthy of their admiration. The bullies were gone, replaced by new friends, and the whispers of human became whispers of awe. Ethan had proven them all wrong, and in doing so, he had shown them that Earth was not a planet to be underestimated.